It's time to stand up and sing. And welcome to Redondo Beach Center for Spiritual Living, those of you here and those of you out there. We're glad to see you. Here we go. Raise up your hands. Oops. Raise up your hands and put a smile on your face. I'm talking to everybody in the human race. We're proud and we're strong, so stand up tall. Let's all get together, bring peace.
Everybody
in the
sing,
world.
let's all get together, bring peace in the world.
Let's all get together, bring peace in the world. Every man and woman, girl and boy, let's all get together.
Michael Paul.
A train of love is starting right here. Jump onto it, have no fear. It's yours and mine, so answer the call. Let's all get together, bring peace in the world.
Say, let's all get together, bring peace in the world.
Let's all get together, bring peace in the world. Every man and woman, girl and boy, let's all get together, bring peace in the world.
Take it, Jim. Shelter the homeless.
Open your door.
Feed the hungry.
Come on and give to the poor.
Offer your heart.
And don't think small.
Let's all get together, bring peace in the world. Everybody, let's all get together, bring peace in the world.
Let's all get together, bring peace in the world. Every man and woman, girl and boy, let's all get together, bring peace in the world.
If you want to make a difference, got to be your best self.
Yeah.
Get into the action, don't sit on a shelf.
Okay, I'm on.
Call out your voice together, we won't fall. Let's all get together, bring peace in the world. Everybody sing.
Let's all get together, bring peace in the world. Let's all get together, bring peace in the world. Every man and woman, girl and boy, let's all get together, bring peace in the world. All get together, bring peace in the world. Let's all get together, bring peace in the world. Every man and woman, girl and boy, let's all
get together, bring peace in the world. Let's all get together one more time. Let's all get together, bring peace in the world.
Yay!
Ooh, you were great.
Yes.
So were you. You were pretty good too.
Singers, and to Jim Hale putting in his trumpet. Thank you. Woo. That's a happy trumpet. Welcome, everyone, here in our sanctuary, and welcome to those of you who are joining us all online. We are so happy that you're all here. And the one thing that we suggest is that you open your mind to the idea that you can change your thinking and change your life right here at Redondo Beach Center for Spiritual Living. We're so glad you're here, and we're going to begin with Paresh, who's going to share with us all the cool things that are going on.
Thank you. Lots of cool things. Lots of cool things happening today. You can hear me all right? Good morning. I am Paresh Shah. I'm a member of your board of trustees, so thank you for putting your trust in us to help guide the center. The discovery class that was scheduled for today has been postponed, and we'll reschedule it, so keep your ears open for when that's rescheduled. We will have the drumming circle today in Richelieu Hall. Come join afterwards. You can either drum or listen, bang on your table, and it's a lot of fun. Every Sunday, we have the Science of Mind Sunday class at 10:15 to 10:45 for a taste of Ernest Holmes. So right before service, you can get a little more of a dose of the teachings. The men's spirit group will meet Monday, July 3rd at 7 in the foyer. Everyone is welcome to that. The office will be closed on Tuesday, July 4th. And happy Independence Day to you all. Have a wonderful week that week. July 6th at 2 p.m. will be our spiritual discussion group. And at 3:30, you're welcome to walk the labyrinth. And if you've not done it before, it's a great experience. And that will be in Richelieu Hall until 5 p.m. In the foyer on our activity table, we have sign-up sheets for Divine Dining. I know you've heard about that. It's a great experience. Woo! Yay for Divine Dining. And the Garden Club and lots of other things. So sign up out there, and you can be of service to the center and one another. And it's a joy to work with your fellow members here. On the back cover of your program, you'll learn about the 2 book studies that are ongoing, and so feel free to join into those. And, of course, a big thank you to all of our volunteers who make all of this happen. Yay! Yeah, we appreciate you all so much, and we're always looking for new volunteers. So even if you just have a little bit of time and want to give, it's always a joy to give, to serve with your fellow members and make a difference in the center. So with that, we're going to welcome back our wonderful singer, Reverend Mary. Well, she's a wonderful singer too. Okay, welcome.
Thank you, Paresh. This is the time we're going to do a prayer, an invocation. So I invite you to just get comfortable in your seats and let's know together. As I take a breath in, I become aware of the oneness of spirit, that divine creative essence that is me. I am open and receptive to today's beautiful message, to the inspiration of the music and the words, and the sense of oneness that I feel in this sanctuary. And I know that I am on the right path. I know right now, as I am open and receptive to new ideas, new thoughts, new inspiration, it guides me to be my best self. And so today, as we embark on this day, we have set this new intention that I am the expression of God, the divine expression of God. And at the very center of my being, I become aware of that oneness. And I pass it on to everybody that I meet in this sanctuary and beyond, knowing that the eyes that look back at me today, the hands and the hugs that shake my hand or give me a hug, I know that it's God by means of them, and we communicate together. And so in this sense of oneness and spirit and openness, I just take a deep breath in and know the truth of who I am. And it is so very good. And together we affirm, and so it is. In this very room is quite enough love for all of us. And in this very room there's quite enough joy for all the world. And there's quite enough peace and quite enough power to walk through every fear. For spirit, one spirit, spirit is in this very room. Thank you, Andy. That was beautiful. Hello, everybody. Today, Reverend Katherine's talk is Star of the One. And I'd like to quote Ernest Holmes from page 332, where he says, "The real self is God-given and cannot be denied. It is the place where God comes to a point of individualized and personalized expression." You know, last week was Father's Day, and Reverend Valerie shared with us a poem from Cahill Gibran that said that we come through our parents, but we come from God. And this teaching reminds us that there is a oneness that is at the very center of our being that created us and that we are it. We are God expressing. So every one of us came to express this unique and special greatness and to fulfill our divine purpose and create our destiny. Now, the only things that divert our destiny and our purpose is our own consciousness and our own thinking. And when we clog that, when we block that, when we allow what other people say about us or what the world will tell us who we are and what we can do, then things don't work out the way we wanted or the way our greatness could genuinely express. In my garden, I have a bunch of hoses, and one of us is one of those curly Q hoses, you know? You've seen those? And if that hose gets a kink in it, and in my case, mine has a pinhole in it, so then when I turn the hose on, things are spraying everywhere, so everything gets watered, including me. So the thing is that hose is plugged into a spigot, correct? And that spigot brings the flow to the hose, but if that hose has a kink in it, or if it has a hole in it, only so much water can go through. Now, it's not the hose's fault, really. The hose has a kink in it. And it's not the spigot's fault because it is giving as much water and power as I'm asking it to. So sometimes it doesn't even matter if there's a kink in it. Okay, so you got a kink in your life about something. Get over it and get out of it. Get the kink done. Don't have to sit and figure out, oh my God, what's going on. Maybe later you can, but right now you want to take the kink out of the hose. It's the same with our thinking. You know, our consciousness gets a kink in it, and God can only do for us what God can do through us. But if we've kinked up our thinking, if we have a limited sense of being, or we limit what we think we can do, or we let other people's determination of what they think we can do determine for us, then guess what? The kink happens. You know, Emerson said, to be yourself in a world that's constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment that you can have. And he also said, you must not allow other people's limited perceptions of you to define you, right? Here comes the important part. Be yourself. And what that means is, those words that we select after that term, I am, are essential. What you're declaring for yourself as your I am will determine the direction that you're going to go. Now, our mind and our body and even our spiritual consciousness aren't really the I am. They are the user of the I am, because the I am is the oneness that is within us. And it's because of that oneness that I can see abundance in a situation that might have lack, or I can see well-being in a situation that might have the appearance of illness, or I can see success in a situation that might look like there's setbacks. It's because I know that the oneness of spirit through me is operating through me and declaring my divine good, because I am a divine being. And because of that, I can see higher. I can see from the oneness rather than from my own selfness. Does that make sense? Great. Please affirm with me. There is one power. That power is God. That power is the power that I use each and every moment. I am a divine being, always expressing. And so look out, world. Here I come. And so it is. And now let's welcome up Mr. Michael Paul Smith. Thank you.
Hello, 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 darling. You're the only second woman I call darling. Is you. So good to see you. Oh my gosh. Prayers work. Hello, Redondo Beach. How's everyone? All of my friends and my new friends, my old friends. You're a great Jim on the trumpet. It's, this guy, how about a hand for this guy right here? He's so, God, I can't tell you how talented he is. So glad to have you here, Andy. I wanted to continue. My soul was burdened with the Juneteenth. commemoration, and I understand you had a wonderful program here that I missed, but I saw it on Facebook or someplace, and it was wonderful. But I did want to kind of conclude that spirit of Juneteenth, of freedom, and sing for you one of my favorite spirituals called Go Down Moses. Go down, Moses, way down in Egypt land, and tell Pharaoh to let my people go. When Israel was in Egypt land, let my people go. Oppressed so hard they could not stand, let my people go. Go down, Moses, way down in Egypt land. Tell Pharaoh to let my people go. Thus said the Lord, but Moses said, let my people go. If not, I'll strike your firstborn dead. Let my people go. Go down, Moses, way down in Egypt land. Tell Pharaoh to let my people go. Yeah, let them go. We want freedom. We want freedom. When Israel was in Egypt land, let go. Oppressed so hard they could not stand. Go down, Moses, way down in Egypt land. Tell Pharaoh to let my people go. Go down, Moses, way down in Egypt land. Tell Pharaoh, you better let my people, you better let them go. We want freedom. Let them go. Way down in Egypt land.
Thank you, Michael Paul, and thank you for the shout out for Juneteenth. It was a wonderful day last Sunday. I am still feeling the uplifting part of that. It was wonderful. I hope that many of you were able to be there. But today, the talk is the star of the infinite. And the star of the infinite is me in my play. It is you, it is you, it is you, it's you. We're all stars of the infinite. And I see this as a play that's unfolding. It's unfolding in real time, and you and I are playing our parts. Now, I think of it as a play. Some people, you know, this is the West Coast, this is LA, Hollywood's nearby. We think about movies, but my background is in theater, and I think of it like a play. And when I was studying theater and theater history, one of the things about it is you study something about the history of theater. And the theater began on a proscenium stage. Very often, plays unfolded with one room, just one room. It had lots of doors going in and out. And the star is on stage most of the time. Now, things happen off stage. You hear about them. You may actually hear them. But they happen on this one place. Now, in my metaphor, the stage is our mind, because everything happens in our thinking, in our mind, and that's the way it unfolds. Now, I'm not only the star of my play, I'm the director of this play. I decide where I go, where the star moves, when the star goes off, and when other people come in, and how that dialogue goes. And the other thing about it is, and this is the most important, I'm also the playwright. I write the script of the play of my life. Ernest Holmes says in the first line of this thing called you, you wish to be needed, to be loved, to be included in the drama of your life. And that is what we're doing in our life, our feelings, our ideas, and the way that we're processing this play. And how do we do that? Well, I think that one of the ways to look at how we get to all of the parts of our lives and how we express what we do is through stories. We tell stories. There are internal stories that we tell ourselves, and there are external stories that we tell. Now, I'm going to talk about two kinds of stories, and the first one I'm calling an origin story. Now, I first heard this story about 10 years ago, and the man who is telling the story is a distinguished Science of Mind minister, and he has been a senior minister at more than one center. He is very grounded in the teaching. But the story that he's telling, he created when he was a boy, a 6-year-old boy. And it's the story of the abandoned boy. He was 6 years old, and his father left him and his mother. And he created this story that he calls the abandoned boy. And what's true about the story is wherever he went, he would find another abandoned boy in the group, and they'd share their stories. And he continued doing this. He did it when he was 6. He did it when he was 8. He did it when he was 15. By the time he had moved into his early 20s, he had told the story of the abandoned boy dozens, if not hundreds of times. He knew it well. And it was part of who he was. He had created the story, he promoted it wherever he went, and he was allowing it to be his story. But he was also raised in this teaching. And so as the teaching moved through him and he began to grow in understanding, he recognized he needed to stop telling that story. So he did. And that's when he discovered that even though he stopped telling it, he was successful at that, it was still playing in his head. And he realized he was still promoting the story, even though he didn't tell it so much. And so he understood the principles. Ernest Holmes says on page 17, the law is a mirror reflecting your mental attitudes. And he began to understand that. And telling that story is not the mental attitude he wanted to have. So he quit telling it. He began thinking about it less. And then he kept noticing that it took a while. He was still allowing it to be in his own consciousness. And so I understand that the stories we tell, especially those that we've known from a very young age, are powerful, and they have a grip on us. And yet, this man was able to understand with the teaching that he could change the story. He could just simply change the story. And he did that. And he moved through that. And so I think about changing the story, but it's a conscious thing that you have to do. You have to create another story in its place. And so he does not share in that talk that I heard him give how he changed the story, but he changed it enough so that he grew into this man who no longer created or creating, promoting or allowing that story. What I know also is that we create stories all the time. All of us create stories every day. Psychologists tell us that when we see things happening, or we hear something, or we read something, and then share it, what we're sharing is not what we read, not what happened, and not what we heard. It is our reaction or our response to those appearances. Now, all of us, when we tell, we may think that we're telling it just like it happened. We just know that this is what happened. We don't think of ourselves as responding or reacting. And yet, if you have 5 people who see the same car wreck or who've seen the same altercation, put them all in 5 separate rooms and get their reaction, their story about that, they're different. They may have a couple of common denominators, but very often, one was a red car, one was a gray car, and one was a blue car. We are unreliable witnesses. Law enforcement already knows this. They know that eyewitnesses are very unreliable. So if that's true, then why would we think that it's different when something happens and we tell that story? What we're telling is our response to that story. So these stories that we're creating, we are creating out of the mental process that we on. Remember, Ernest Holmes said we have a desire, a wish, he calls it, to be needed, to be loved, and to be included. And so anything that happens that may make us feel that we were not one of those, we create a different story about that. Let's imagine that you're on your way to somewhere. It could be work in the morning, but it's at going to work time. And so you're on PCH, you're on the 405, you're on a place where there is just a lot of traffic. And you are serious about this, you do this regularly, both hands on the wheel, and then all of a sudden, this car from your right just pulls in front of you so suddenly that you grip the wheel and you put both feet on the brake, hoping that you'll stop without hitting them. And you're just left almost shaking, but you didn't hit the car, but you honked the horn because you're upset, you're angry that this person pulled in front of you in that way. So the car responds by sticking his arm out the window and raising to you the one-finger flag. Well, that just makes you even madder. And so you are just irate with this, gripping the wheel. You change lanes, the car changes lanes too. So eventually you get where you're going. Let's say you're going to work. You are so irate, this whole story in your head is just racing around. So the first person that you see, you tell them the story about what happened. And then there's the second and third person you see, you tell them the story. By the end of the day, you could have told 5 or 6 people that story. You're getting good at it. And then you go home to an environment of new people who haven't heard the story yet. So by this time, that 5-minute story is now a 10-minute story, and you're practiced at telling that story, and you're outraged, and you're victimized, and you're all of those things. Now, Ernest Holmes says to us that the law is a mirror reflecting our mental attitudes. So what do you think is going to happen the next time you're on the road? What is your mental attitude about being that victim, about being the person that people pull in front of and misbehave? I don't know. I don't know. But what if, at some point, you get tired of hearing yourself tell that story, and you think, wait a minute, there's a different truth in that story. The truth is that that person did pull in front of me, and I did have to stop suddenly, but I am so grateful that I didn't hit him. No one was hurt. No car was damaged. So that's an entirely different mental attitude. Which one is better for you? Which is the one you want to carry over until tomorrow when you're back at the wheel again? Well, I know what my answer would be. Well, you see, that kind of way of approaching life, telling stories, and sometimes telling the story the way we want it to be, but sometimes just we're reacting to this thing within us that I don't necessarily know, because many of the things that happen to us seem to be out of our control. Our minister friend as a boy was not in control when his father just left. And the feelings that he had, perhaps of abandonment, or that maybe he wasn't good enough and that's why his father left, all of these things, I don't know what he created, but he had to tell a story in order to expiate those negative feelings. And the story of the abandoned boy is the one he came up with. There is a great skit that Mr. Rogers used to do, because he used to demonstrate all kinds of emotions that kids grapple with. And he had played this one particular one that my daughter India was a big student of, and she loved this. So it happened one day at preschool. She's 3 years old. And one of the other preschool kids just cold-cocked her. And so I go to pick her up, and the owner of the preschool comes running out. India's okay, she's fine, everything's fine. I go, what? So she explains that Ebony's parents had told Ebony that morning that they're separating, they're divorcing. And Ebony was very upset. She didn't know what to do with that. So she comes and she hits the first available person, what happened to be my daughter. So I'm thinking, how am I going to talk with India about this? So we go home, and I start to tell her the story about Ebony's parents. She interrupted me. She just says, oh, Mr. Rogers told me all about that. King Friday the 13th and Queen Sarah Saturday were having an argument. Prince Tuesday thought it was all his fault, but it wasn't. Ebony's like that. I tear up to this day when I tell that story, because she got it. She understood that actions that you see aren't necessarily the reasons why we feel what we feel. And the success of that moment is something I probably won't forget for long. But do you see that we all have that capability to look for some other reason why this cowplop, this thing that comes into your life, this mess, why it happens, that doesn't have anything to do with I'm not good enough, I'm not successful enough, I haven't done enough. It really has to do with the way you are handling what is going on in your life. I said in the opening, the idea to be open to changing your thinking so that you truly can change your life. And one of the ways we can do that is to look at the stories that we tell ourselves. And this is not something that you can necessarily get from someone else. Ernest Holmes says, and he says this on page 28, he says, the answer is not in a book. It is in yourself. And that's where it is. Whatever it is that you need to know, you know within you. And so the challenge then is to be quiet, to contemplate, to meditate, to listen, to actually listen. Don't do all the talking. Don't tell the story. Just listen. And that spirit is within every one of us. It is the core of my being. It is the core of your being. And I am the star of my play. I am the only one that directs me. And anytime I go unconscious and anytime I'm not aware, I'm allowing some other hidden thing to drive me and my mind. Whether I do anything or not, it's my thinking that I want to know. 51% of the time that we keep our thinking in that place that I can be happy. Everyone wants to be happy. We want happiness, but it has to do with how we think about what is in our own life. That and gratitude. I am incredibly grateful and spend time being grateful for those things that I am and that I have and that are operating well. And I know that that's one of the best spiritual practices there is to be able to be grateful. And so, in the play that is my life, in the play that is in your life, that is your life, what I am knowing is that your play is unfolding magnificently due to this performance that you are giving in this life that's absolutely sublime. And so when this play is complete, I know that we all win a Tony Award for this life and this presentation. And so it is. Thank you. I want to take a moment at the end of this and just invite you to go within for a quick prayer treatment as we take this idea that I am the director of my life. Knowing this power and this presence, this infinite intelligence that is in me, is in my mind, is in all of the things that I do. I know that that infinite intelligence supports all of the pillars of my life in such divine ways so that when I tell the story of my health and my body and my well-being, that I know that it is whole, that I know that all of the things I need to know, I am learning and growing and use for my healthful fulfillment. And I also know that I am prosperous, and that prosperous idea infects every part of my being, because prosperity comes in so many ways. It moves into my life as gifts, as success, as abundance. And that is the story that I'm telling myself about the way I am in this world right now. And when it comes to creative expression, I know that I am using the mind of God to move through my life and think of wonderful things and create wonderful things that make not only my life better, but life better for everyone around me. And I know that there is such incredible peace that comes as I know that I am needed, that I am loved, and that I am included, accepted, just as I am. So in deep, deep gratitude for all I have and for all that I know, I simply allow this word as I release, knowing that the law of mind is bringing it into my experience and into the experience of everyone in the sound of my voice. And I just say, and so it is. And now I would like to welcome back up Mr. Michael Paul Smith. Yes.
Thank you, Reverend Katherine. Whoa, I love that spirit. It's amazing. It's great. Good stuff. People get ready. There's a train a-coming. You don't need no baggage. You just get on board. All you need is faith to hear the diesel humming. You don't need no ticket. You just thank the Lord. People get ready. There's a train a-coming, picking up passengers coast to coast. Faith is key. Open the door and board them. There's hope for all among the loved the most. Yeah. Who's loved the most? For there ain't no room for the hopeless sinner who would hurt all mankind just to save his own. Have a pity on those whose choices grow thinner. There's no hiding place among the kingdom's throne. No hiding place. There's no hiding place. People get ready. There's a train a-coming. You don't need no baggage. You just get on board. All you need is some faith to hear the diesel humming. You don't need no ticket. You just thank the Lord. Oh, yeah. I'm getting ready. I'm getting ready. I'm getting ready just to get on board. Are you getting ready? Are you getting ready, children? Are you getting ready just to get on? Woo! Just to get on. Just to get on board. getting on board. Yeah, just get on board. Just get on board.
One of my favorite ones. You got to get a ticket to ride. It is now time for our offering, and this is what we are calling our giving time. This is the time for you to respond with your donations, with the things that you want to give to support this center in a meaningful way, because we depend on the participation at all levels for everyone who loves this center, and we thank you very much. And so let us bless the offering as we say, divine love consecrates my gift, and it goes forth to heal, to bless, and to prosper all those who give and all those who receive. I rejoice in the sharing of my good, and I release my gift with love, and so it is.
I am so blessed. I am so
Grateful for all
that I am. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
So as we move in to this closing time, knowing that I am blessed, I breathe in the idea of blessing and gratitude, knowing that it fills my soul. And it fills my soul in a way that warms everything in my own consciousness, in my mental attitudes. And approaching the world with the idea of blessing and of love and appreciation, and knowing that there's only ever love. It is the thing that heals. It is the thing that makes the difference. Whether we call it kindness, we call it compassion. Sometimes we call it understanding. It is the way to move forward in this world. And so as we come together in consciousness as an idea that this beloved center is a divine idea in the mind of God, is the shining hill atop Nob Hill. We are this shining idea. We are here. We are love. And so I come into this moment knowing that it's absolutely perfect. And I go from this place with the joy, with the understanding, and with the love and friendship that I am in this moment. I'm so grateful, and allow this to simply be. And I accept and say, and so it is. Before we go into the peace song, I'd like to invite our practitioners to come down. And they're invited to simply stand here. Many are wearing their stoles, and they were ready to be a part of all of this. And we have talked about ways to change your thinking. Allow a practitioner to move with you into that. Allow the practitioner to simply support you in the idea of yourself. It's a wonderful thing to do. They're here for you. And so as we step into the peace song, and we're allowing ourselves to be a part of this great idea, we move into to the song and sing.